long morning for Bert Hefty and his crew, making their second attempt at a first start. This is not like taking a second first service.
Hey, you know, Hefty's doing what he has to do.
This is like playing the first set again.
A do-over.
It's like being sent back from the clubhouse to play the first day's round for a second time. Can they get in? Can they get down? They do. 5.19. They had a 5.14 in the first heat.
25th best start velocity, but that's been, we've been a little nervous about that clock. I think it may have something to do with the amount of sleds going around that first curve.
I think the softer, the warmer the ice, the more purchase they're getting, the more it slows them down on the steering back.
Boy, the back of the sled right now, those guys riding in this sled are not in the proper alignment.
26th. Okay, he was 23rd on the splits at Snake last time, down to Horseshoe.
112 speed to put him in the heat.
And this is where he made the jump up to 10th position.
10 speed. That's
24th.
Yeah, that's speed. He should have had better speed than that, but he's coming.
By this stage, he was in 10th. He's only 22nd. He's not on the pace that he was before.
Skating. He should do it here.
21st.
Right to the 100.
It's him or Cripps, or
right
both. More drama would be both of them, and he's out.
Oh, no. Look at this. I mean, what is Justin Cripps doing? He was probably packing up his sleds ready to go home 25 minutes ago.
He's sitting in the changing room like everybody else, watching the TV going, what's happening?
Well, Beat Hefty got 2 trips today. You know, I wouldn't see a protest here and have them run 21 sleds in the final heat, but then I wouldn't be surprised they run 21 sleds. Look at the guys riding. Look at the turnover. I think Beat is going to go into the dressing room and
He's going to the changing
room. He's going
room.
to throw something against somebody.
It has not been a good weekend for Bert Hefty. Yesterday was a dramatic day for Swiss bobsledding, full stop. Today, just said to our Swiss colleagues, I thought the drama was over. The drama was only just starting. Oh, Bert. And he was in, and he was way in, and he was cleanly in.
Now
how can they not have given him that run?
He's coming over to get his scabbers, or is he going to look for one of the officials?
He's just looking for
anybody,
something to throw, something to kick, or And up at the top,
show me a bit.
What's Wolfgang Stanford doing? Who's he talking to?
Is he talking to the jury president?
But then again, if he gets in, he'll be the first off now.
Yeah, that's the other point.
Oscars Melbardis, Oscars Kibermanis, Rico Peter. Let's call that a dead heat. Let's say we've got 3 sleds in first, because effectively we have. And then we've got another 7 sleds in second, from Chris Spring.
Yeah, they're 700ths apart, those guys.
Down to Nico Walter.
Yeah,
that's 7 sleds in a 10th.
Look at Rudy Rinaldi.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be an insane second heat.
Olsen's ahead of Holcomb.
Look at Olsen, what a run he had. But again, you know, it's the start draw. Justin Olsen came out 21st, Stephen Holcomb 9th. And that allows
that's all going to be equaled up in the second run. Boy, this is going to be too much fun. Look at
5,600, 6,400 Cripps to Hefty. Ooh, dear.
And Hefty was 500 slower in the second run at the start.
Well, look,
so now we're being told 12:19 in the first sled, which they've all been up there. So our first guy out of the box,
half an hour, 40 minutes. Well, that might have ended the drama from our first heat here in St Moritz. Second heat coming up shortly. The first sled will be on ice in a quarter of an hour. We'll be back at 12:15 local, 11:15 GMT. You've just got time to run and get a coffee. We've just got time for the second run start list to get printed out. We'll be back at 12:15. my goodness. 400ths of a second. That's less than the blink of an eye. Welcome to sunny St Moritz. We're high in the Engadin Valley in the Swiss Alps, where they've been sliding down the hill from the town of St Moritz to the village of Celerina for 130 years. The home of ice sliding, the venue for the 5th race in the FIBT BMW 4-man bobsleigh World Cup. Getting into our second and deciding run, Martin Haven alongside me, John Morgan. And John, oh my goodness, what a drama we've had in the first heat.
Okay, Rico Peter, he had a disastrous heat yesterday in the 2-man competition, finished in 15th. And here he thrills the Swiss fans with coming in middle of the pack in the first run, and he puts himself into a position to have a chance to win a medal. He was in 4th place, but Melbardis, okay, this guy is the world champion. He's operating at about 75% after back surgery during the off season, and here he comes down, and he's only 100th out of the lead. And he's tied, though, with this other Latvian sled, Kibermanis. And it's unbelievable. We have 3 sleds here separated. It's Rico Peter and Melbardis are tied. They're behind him by 100th of a second.
100th of a second on this track would be a winning margin, but effectively the top 3, it's a dead heat, give or take. From Chris Spring in 4th down to 10th position, just another 10th of a second. So that is unbelievably tight to Nico Walter, and so many close battles down the field. But the hugest drama in our 32 sled field was reserved for the last Ed, Bert Hefty. He got all the way down to the final corner in 10th place, would make the heat. Timing system failed. He had to go again. His second run only good enough for 21st. Just failed by 800ths of a second to make it into the second heat.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. Justin Cripps, he was on the bubble there, and he'll be the first man to go. Here's the rest of the teams. It's a weird setup here. If you go early, you're dealing with frost. If you go late, the sun comes out on the track, you get faster. Actually, the top 3 guys on the leaderboard are people we would expect. The top of the leaderboard, we'd expect a couple more Germans to challenge here in the second run, though, Martin.
Well, this is a stunning location, a stunning track, the only natural track hand-built every single season on the same path through the woods that it has followed for more than a century and a quarter. History drips from every pore of that starting building. Trophies, photographs, pictures, drawings, sleds.
This is where they started sliding over to like 1888. On the same spot. Here's our start list.
Justin Cripps first off, dodged the bullet by, I don't know, 600ths of a second. Ugis Adams will go second. And again, as the run continues, the track will continue to give speed. And the final 3, Melbardis tied with Peter, 100th ahead of them, Oscar's Kibermanis. Unbelievable.
Watch out. Watch out for these guys here.
And Francesco Friedrich, the 2 German drivers, all with a shot of a medal here. Lochner's won the last 2 4-man races and 1 2-man yesterday. Deep breaths, everybody. The final run in St Moritz about to get underway with Justin Cripps of Canada, 20th place after the first heat. The sled that follows him has a 200th of a second advantage. Let's see if he can produce a good second run.
Cameron Stones, Jesse Lumsden, and Ben Coakwell. Okay, they had a pretty good start in the first run. Let's see if they can match it. 5:03, pretty similar to what they did in the first run. 5:04, the velocity 57.6. Keep track of that.
Start record is 5:01. That's what the fastest sleds were producing, so he's right.
And he's not operating at
1:05.11 first heat, 1:04.69 in the second heat, over 0.4 of a second faster. That's a good run, and it does show that the track is continuing to speed up.
And these 4 athletes here, they don't belong back in 20th place. Same thing I said about a couple weeks ago. Yesterday when he didn't qualify for the second run in 2-man. These 2 hits here, real hard to get these 4-mans into skids, but double hit before horseshoe. And then here, the bottom part of the track, this is down and finished between Martineau and Portago, a little bit of a tap there.
Not a bad run. It's Ben Coakwell. Justin Cripps, the race leader. Next up, Uga Zalims, a man who came 11 sleds later on the ice. Off a similar start, just 200s quicker at the start than Cripps' team. I beg your pardon, 100 slower. He was 200s faster at the bottom.
Yeah, he had more hits than Elvis on the way down. Start wasn't that bad. 5:05, sixth best start. Should not be back in this position, especially going as late as he did, 23rd. So 5:07, very similar. Second best start. Let's see the load. Second best load of 57.3. Canadians beat him by a couple hundredths at the start, and look how low everybody is there. Now see that? That's good aerodynamic profile there.
Little dink on the wall, didn't send the sled into a skid, so he got away with that.
Ooh, a lot of movement there in Snake. You saw the body shaking in the sled. That should be a smoother exit and transition in those two S-curves.
0.2 of a second behind Cripps already.
Skid. Hit the lip.
Now remember in the two-man race yesterday, we saw a lot of sleds skidding there off Dixon, and it's happening now in the four-man. Didn't in the first heat.
Doesn't have the same speed at all as Cripps, but he's coming back now on the bottom part of the track. 112.2.
Quicker than the Canadian sled, the gap's coming down.
Still 1,500s back. Cripps could
find it the last two corners. It's very slick down here, 1,900s back, doesn't make it.
That hit in the lip of Horseshoe did not help his effort, so surprise Zalmas has had a bad day because he's a very consistent driver.
Well, he made the second heat, and there were 12 sleds that didn't, including some very big names.
Not happy. Okay. Did he hit? Boy, razor thin up there. I can't tell if he hit. What do you? My eyes don't. Yeah, I think he touched, but barely.
Just got nudged away there, didn't he?
Look at the sign, yep. Horseshoe.
Watch the back bail, you can see ice crystals above it.
Yeah, that's the wrong one. If you're going to hit, you want to hit with the front.
Nice work from our replay guys, fantastic stuff. Markus Treichel of Austria, 26 starter. On any other track, probably you wouldn't make the heat. He's in 18th place, 300s in hand over leader Justin Cripps of Canada.
It's a pretty good finish for him for a 5:17 start. 25th best start. That's the worst starting team in the top 20. Good lines. You can see some bodies and heads back there, so they are perfectly aerodynamically lined up. And, you know, probably these guys don't have 15 or 20 trips with each other. You can see the number 2 man's head shaking when they come off the curves because he's not comfortable in that position, and that hit's not going to help his efforts. He's half-second down.
This is the second of our Austrian sleds. Benny Meyer, who took a silver medal in the four-man last year, is a little further up the order, but only a couple of spots.
Yeah, this is a good example that he went 26th, Cripps went 12th.
Yeah.
That's why Cripps is going to beat him here by over a half second. Cripps could lead that leader's box for a little while.
He might be. Well, down to third place, so Uga Zalims doesn't lose a spot. Oh, they've got the gummy bears out. There you go. That'll keep body and soul together for like a second.
Nothing wrong with hanging around the leader's box in St Moritz.
No, it's a good view, and it's always good to rise up the order rather than slip down. Treichel will go no lower than 20th. He's third, behind Uga Zalims and our leader, Justin Cripps.
Watch this tap between Nash and Dixon. Can't do that with these big four-mans, these sport utilities that go in their, when you get them in trouble, they go in their own direction. You can't really correct them.
Top of the track, Canada's Nick Polignato. Good run from Nick in his first four-man race in St Moritz. Few bumps, but starting 19th in the draw, had good, fast ice. Current leader is his teammate, Justin Cripps.
Decent start. These guys had a 5:09, 11th best start for the Canada 13th. 14th, Kaylee Humphreys had a team, all-female team in the first heat.
Good start, 5:09, same as they made in the first heat.
Start, second best speed, third best start, so that's pretty good on the load.
Now, if he can tidy up a couple of little skids he had, then he could, like Cripps, climb up the order.
Daniel Sutherland, Derek Plug, Keegan Dougal.
Third place on the sprint times, but the gaps between them now are so tiny.
2/10 back. Gonna need 112 speed.
Good exit out of Dixon, good line into Horseshoe.
Bringing it down, 112 speed, 113 speed. Tap there.
Fastest sled so far, quicker than Cripps.
You can find 2/10s down here with that exit out of Horseshoe. 10. Oh, it's going to be close. A race within a race. Who's going to be the top Canadian?
This might be the best four-man drive we've seen from Nick Polignano. Little skid down into the final corner.
Right to the 100. Too close to call.
I'd like to see them tie, and in the leader's box, 10th back.
Lost a little bit back.
That's 3 now?
That's 3 now, exactly right. Hey, Ben Coatwell can push and count.
Still. Polinato's doing pretty good here.
He's going to murder me for that.
He's doing pretty good here. You know,
yes,
his first event here. He's done very well. They know this little tap up. Look at these pictures. Head profiles, aerodynamics. Oh, the number 2 guy, it's leaning a little bit out. Should try and be more behind his driver. It's very easy for me to sit here and say that. Got on there a little too early. You saw his head change direction.
He might have been leaning down to try and edge the sled away from the woodworking Horseshoe. Benny Meyer of Austria, second of our 2 Austrian sleds in the top 16. He was in 16th place, Markus Treichel in 18th. Treichel lost a couple of spots. Benny Meyer, silver medalist in the 4-man a year ago here.
Had a bad start, 23rd best start. They should be way better than 5:16 they had the first run. And I'm sure their coaches told them that. They could get single digits here. There it is.
There we go.
11 hundredths better than her first heat. I said that. Why were they so conservative the first heat? This kid won a bronze medal last week in Winterberg with very good starts. He won a silver medal on this track last season, his first breakout race, first medal he ever won. You know, I expect this kid to come down and blister the track and get in the leader's box. He might be there for 4 or 5 sleds.
700ths is the lead. These are narrow margins all the way up the field here. He was only 800ths in front of Justin Cripps from the first heat. Now he's adding to
114,
that.
113.1. Did not tap on the exit of that Devil's Dyke curve.
Same top speed as Cripps.
Oh, he's flying now, though. 3/10 better. Wow. This is what he should have done in the first heat. He should be a top 6 or 7 sled. Speed, wow, he's into that 92 mile an hour speed, 93 maybe. Wow, track record.
Okay, here we go.
He went 70 hundredths better in the second run. That's what the Austrian coaches expected out of this, what I call one of the young guns in the field.
So that's faster than anybody's been down the track this year. And the Gummy Bears have run out, so it's the end of the time in the leader's box for Justin Cripps. Benny Meyer and his team will move in, but how many spots can they climb?
Well, it's about a good start and then about the lines down the track. Look at the profile. Let's see if look at the runners come down. You see the runners there? That's how he gets off. Now watch the way the team rides the sled in this transition to telephone. This is where he went from 1500ths to 2900ths at the next clock.
Benny Meyer, better second heats for him. Next up is Lamindine of Great Britain, 15th place. First time in his 4-man World Cup career that Lamindine has made a second heat in St Moritz. Benny Meyer, the leader, was only 200 slower in the first heat.
This team should be better at the start.
New visor, his first one got broken off in the load in the first run.
There's 4 really good athletes in this sled. They have not come together as a team. Only the 14th best start in the first run, 10. Oh, look at that, 507, that's better, but look at the velocity, 4th best velocity, even though they had the 3rd best speed, and they're going to really get hurt at the next clock. Look at the shoulders back here. Look how many people you can see. Remember that Latvian sled we saw come down? We didn't see anybody in that same shot. Aerodynamic profile on one of the fastest tracks on the planet. The only other track where we get these type of speeds is in Whistler. Aerodynamics, big part of success here.
2200's back.
Good lap.
Good exit
Boy,
now.
he's a quarterback. Speed, 113.6, great
Best speed, best speed.
So he could get into that 2800 deficiency, but Meyer was flying down here also.
This is a 15-year-old Dresden chassis, 15 plus with a Singer cowl. Finding some big numbers, good lines for Lamindine. Not going to get any closer. He will be in
Watch out here, he
second
crashed
place.
here. Oh, he crashed there in training, he almost did it again. Both heats he had problems getting through from Martineau to Portago.
Yep.
And then again, he crashed in training the last day there. I don't think Lamin likes that section of the track.
Yike. Hasn't got it sorted out. They're in second. Benny Meyer still leads, but that is his career best four-man race here in St Moritz.
Look at the start here. I mean, look at everybody's moving around. Look at the gloves up. I mean, that's, oh, better look at it there. And the number 2 guy's looking around. What's going on behind me? Watch this. He waves, the sled waves here. He crashed here in training. It's almost like he's got a mental block here on the exit of the finish curve. No one else has got this problem in the finish curve but Lamindine.
It's that back-end skid out of Martineau. He's not happy. Stephen Holcomb of the USA, 9th out of 32 sleds out of the start shed, was not helpful, but he got himself into the top 20 in 14th position.
22nd best start time of 32 sleds.
Yesterday in the second heat in the two-man, drove himself from 7th up into the bronze medal position.
18th best start there, and you know, he's just magical with his eyes and hands.
Had 1 medal here in his career in four-man, bronze in the 2013 World Championships.
And that sled's coming up in 2 sleds with Justin Olsen driving it. A little delay here or something. They're waiting for the green light. This is a long delay. There's the bell. 5:14. They should get it 5:10. Look at the view.
Yeah. They don't have time for that like we do. 5:14 first heat. Nice load. Oh, and another skid.
Driving. The velocity. 6. Not bad. 6 best start, 6 best velocity, but that skid in his new BMW sled.
500s quicker than Benny Meyer in the first heat. Remember we told you how tight this field was?
Meyer flew in the bottom. Holcomb's going to need that 113 speed on the exit of Horseshoe. Because anybody can manufacture speed on the bottom of a bob track. It's this guy here, but not like that. Oh, he's way off the pace. 112 speed, he's late there.
This is a very un-Holcomb drive. The tail is wagging the dog here. The sled is really loose.
Yeah, this is not a Steve Holcomb type drive. He didn't do this yesterday. The two-man, there's nobody can match his lines or the speed he had on the bottom part of the track.
3,500's back. He's going to lose 3 spots at the line. And he does. Drops down to 3rd place, 4th fastest run. Benny Meyer leads.
Boy, 4/10
in second.
Look at that. Holcomb will be the first guy to time. When you have a deficient start time, you got to be perfect. And most of the time he's perfect, but you can't hit a home run every time you come up to the plate here.
Now here's a question for you. He knew he was 9th off, frosty track. Second heat, an hour and a half later, 35 more sleds have gone down. Do the runners for the frosty track not work now?
This ain't runners here. This is driver air.
Yeah, but
that's driver air. No, you can't. There's no argument with equipment. If he's coming straight down the track and he has that time, is one thing. He hit 3 or 4 times. That's unlike Steve Holcomb.
Loïc Osterg of France, our 20th sled out of 32 in the first heat. He lined up in 13th place at the end of that heat, off a 21st start time.
They really had a lot of problems getting in the sled and getting around. Push bars didn't come down.
They weren't alone, were there? There were several crews that had men popping back up on the straight.
Still got issues. Still push bars. That same push bar's hanging out. Look at that.
They're spring-loaded, so they should drop into a little groove.
Now watch
Clearly,
it. Watch it. He's going to go through the snake and watch the push bar come in. Watch the pressure take the push bar there. Something that, at least he got into that first part of it. He's still out. The first heat it came in here.
It won't be affecting the driver at all. He won't know it's there.
But there's hundreds of seconds.
Yeah.
He's way back.
1900s back, and it's not the push bar.
113 speed will give him a chance.
Well, this is Benny Meyer climbing the leaders board at the moment.
He's got the speed. Oh, but he just erased that speed advantage. Devil's Dyke.
Meyer's going to pick one off, but he's up to second place now, Lloyd Costed. This Bruno Mijon developed sled is always fast. Is he going to come back? No, he'll be in second ahead of Lamindi.
He'll cut into it, though.
Not enough at the line in second place.
104.59. 3,700's better. He took advantage of that start draw where he went off 20th. Anybody went off 20 to 30th had a big advantage. Exit of horseshoe, slingshot effect. Does he tap before he gets in? Oh, maybe he might have been inches away, but here's the mistake. Here, drove into the wall, and I don't know if that was worth 10 hundredths, but it was worth a lot of time.
Justin Olsen of the USA, 12th place after the first heat, 3,800s out of the lead, and some 600s out, 800s out of a top 10 spot. We've seen Benny Meyer of Austria move up 3 positions now, as did Justin Cripps. So a good drive by Olsen could put him further up the leaders board as well.
Decent start, 07 with a US team keeps shuffling their athletes on this team. Austin Landis, Evan Weinstock, and Louis Morai. Ooh, can't get down. 509, a couple hundred slower. The load, not bad. This is the sled that won the bronze medal here in 2013 with Holcomb driving it.
Look at the eyes, Olsen absolutely unblinking, focused on wall, getting the line right, feeling the sled in.
Tap there.
600s of a lead over Meyer. When they sat down, it's gone away to 900s behind.
Meyer, he could live in that leader's box 4 or 5 more. So look at that skin. Whoa.
But he gets out of Dixon straight into horseshoe. This is his first ever 4-man race here.
Ooh, big hit there. Shamrock almost parked it. He's still late here. You know, again, it's his first World Cup on this track in a 4-man.
It's a big old bus, and there's much less grip on the ice than there was in the first heat. Big skids again for Olsen. He's going to lose
7-8
all
places
the way
here.
down to the bottom of the top 20.
9th best time, 8th. He finishes, he'll probably finish in 19th place. So Benny Meyer, who had a terrible first run, is showing where he should have been in the first run. He should be up in the top 5, and he's picked off another sled.
Sled. 105.31, 509 start.
Well, you know, this 4-man bobsledding is a lot of importance. Is the way the guys get in the sleds.
Look at how many times he got hit in the head on the run down to the first corner. Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that articulation on the Night Train 1 was stretched to a max. But Justin's in a learning curve.
Yep. And with experience comes consistency. 30th anniversary of the Monaco Bobsled Federation celebrated here in St Moritz this weekend. Rudy Rinaldi having an 11th place run, 500s out of a top 10. An excellent run from him in his first 4-man race in World Cup.
And his boss, Prince Albert, was here at the track to watch that first run. I'm sure they were just beaming ear to ear. Push bars out, 5'11", not bad. You know, he went late in the run. You know, he went 27th. 9th best velocity. Pretty good aerodynamic profile there. Number 4 guy we can see a little bit of.
Rinaldi's showing so much promise here.
Good speed at the bottom, man.
1100s ahead of Benny Meyer.
He's already plus 12.
Every sled's going to have a slightly larger advantage.
Yeah, good speed at the bottom. Good lines here. 113 speed. Give him a chance to stay out close to his best finish ever. 111. Not the good speed and a tap on the exit of Devil's Dyke.
Still in third place on the splits.
Still his first ever World Cup.
Yeah. Can he get in front of Frenchman Loic Coster? Both teams coached by the same group of French athletes.
Looks like he's
third place, going to be close with Coster, but I don't think he's got enough. It is third at the line.
Still a great result. Meyer picks his another team here, but Rudy Ronaldo, impressive in his first run at a World Cup race.
Absolutely. And with 10 sleds to come, he'll be no worse than 13th. And out of a field of 32, that's better than halfway up the order. First time out in a four-man. I think the Monegasque team has a lot of potential. 10 down, 10 to come. And Benny Meyer, with a new track record in the second heat, leads. How much further up the order will he rise? Beautiful location here in St Moritz, down on the right-hand side of your shot. The Olympic Stadium, that's where they held the opening ceremony in 1928, and for the first time in over 2 decades, perhaps, that ice sheet has been frozen. And they were out skating on it all day yesterday. There's a hockey rink there as well. And Gunter Sachs, who was a big part of this bobsleigh club in the 70s and 80s, his son Ralph has renovated the stadium and the ice sheet. Well, there on the left is Benny Meyer, our race leader.
Conservative first start really put them back in the position they were after heat 1, and then second heat they did what they do. Good start, 900s better, and rocketed to a record time, and they're going to live in that leader's box, maybe a couple more sleds.
Part of his disadvantage was his start draw as well. He was 8th out because he's in the top 10, and somebody around sort of 15th or 20th would have had much faster ice, but he's shown here exactly, if he'd had 2 good runs, just how good it would have been.
He's already moved up 5 sleds.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to change much either.
I don't know.
His second heat was a 104.33, so...
Nico Walter's got a 2200s lead on him.
Yeah,
but I think that's a capable pilot.
Benny Meyer went 7/10 quicker, so Nico Walter, to stay where he is, has to go half a second quicker. Yeah. And that, obviously the need to improve will be reduced as we get further up the order. But Benny Meyer has laid down such a smoker that he might still end the race with the track record.
You're right.
Of course,
I don't know.
It might get bust in the last half a dozen more times.
The last 4 or 5. There's going to be 3 or 4 more track records before we're done here.
Yeah.
Have to put our seatbelts on.
Check our blood pressure now. Benny Meyer in the leader's box on the left-hand side with his team. Yes, been in there a long while. Well, the longer it is, the better for them. 10 to go here in St Moritz. Nico Walter for Germany in 10th place. 2600ths out of the lead, but only a 10th of a second from 4th position. However, he's going to need a massive leap in performance to overhaul our current leader, Benny Meyer.
Now, Hülkenberger, on the left of the screen here, is about 6'7". He's the first guy in, ride number 2. Very efficient 509 in the velocity, second best velocity. They had the 5th best start, second best velocity, and they got the tallest guy in the competition, was the first guy in the sled, and you could see nobody behind the driver in that aerodynamic pose. 1300s. But Meyer had a better start. Nico Walter, the only German driving the FES sleds. Everybody else is in a Wallner sled. Speed, 114.4. That is quick. And he should pull away now from Meyer. 18, here he comes. He's not worried about Meyer. He's got his sights on the rest of the field. Nico Walter is flying.
7 sleds in front of him, covered by a 10th. How far up the order can he rise? He'll be the leader ahead of Benny Meyer, new track record. Okay, there I was saying Benny Meyer might end up with the record at the end of the day.
He went 5100s better, like you said he had to go.
Had to.
Well, he's a good driver. He's got an equipment problem. The guy in front of him, Lochner's got 2 brand new Wallner sleds that is sponsored by Friedrich. Was given 2 new Wallner sleds by the German Federation, and he's driving FES sleds, and he's sort of walking around saying, I got an equipment disadvantage.
Next 5 sleds in front of him are covered by 500s.
Action. Look at this. He looks a little late down there, and he drifts to the left side of the screen. More pressure. Watch it come out here to go to the left side again. Yeah, he tapped a little bit there. You know, maybe 500s. 500s today is worth a lot of
Yes, it
your
is.
places.
Nico Walter in the leader's box, 9 to go. All 3 Russian sleds in the top 9. That is jammed with talent and jammed close together. This is Alexei Stulnev. Stulnev beat our present leader Nico Walter by 100th of a second in the first heat.
07 first run.
Oop, little skid,
Oh,
there's
02.
100th.
Boy, the Russians have improved at the start. 3rd best velocity.
They went 500s quicker, Nico Walter only 200s quicker.
That was the best start of the heat. 3rd best velocity. Little skid there out of that first curve. That velocity is at 110 meters. 8. He's opened it up, but that's because he had a better start. And the Russians, they've had big speed at the bottom of every track they've been on this year. This is a one of those sled. Tip there, speed 113. That's not the speed that Nico Walter had.
Clatters the wall again. Walter was half a mile an hour faster. Gap's coming right
Needs
down.
to be perfect. Walter was not perfect down here.
He was only 100th in front, hits the wall, 500s
5.
behind.
Those 2 hits.
Going to be very close to the line. Will he be the leader? He will not. Needed a track record. Now everybody pretty much needs a track record to stay in front now because there are such tiny margins. The next sled up was 300s faster than Nico Walter. You can't
Get closer than this.
Well, you can. Top 3 are covered by 100th.
Yeah. Well, the start here was the best start of the competition. Watch him get in, get down with the cat-like movements. Don't alter the sled. Look at the ice. They see he had a big hit here. Look at that. That first curve is so different. Look at him play with the runners. First curve is so different than it's been in past years. Watch the back end of the sled. Does he hit here? Look at this. Oh, airborne. All the pressure on the nose. That's why he didn't have the speed that Walter did. You want to accelerate out of horseshoe.
Drilled that front runner into the ice. Nico Walter leads for Germany. Our next Russian contender is Alexander Kazyanov. 300s in the bank after the first heat over the German.
Huge lead.
Again, these next 6 or 7 sleds
They're so
effectively
close.
dead heat.
Dead heats. 509 first run, 505 there. You see that first curve? Now this is an all-natural track. They build it differently every year. The guy who's built the track the last 10 years, he was sick this year. He wasn't building it, and plus they had no snow in St Moritz. So this track was built with artificial snow. And I was told that's a different setup than compared to the natural snow they usually build the track with. Different moisture in the ice they're talking about, which is way over my head.
Yeah.
Tap there between Nash and Dixon. He's got great numbers.
Tidier run than Stulnev, his teammate.
114, he's got the 114. He did not tap there.
But still, our leader Nico Walter was faster, and he's in the red.
Nico Walter, well, Kazyanov is a speed merchant.
Well,
See what
again,
he can do.
they were all so close. It is effectively a one-heat race
He's
for this
not going
group.
to do it either.
500s back, clean through the final 2 corners, ducks for the line.
No.
No,
Look at this.
400s. Marco Hubenbecker enjoying that there.
Now, we got a few Germans coming up. So there's a race within a race here.
Yeah.
The Russians, who wants to emerge as #1. There's still another Russian sled to come, right?
Yes. Still got Adrianov,
We got
their
2 more
third
Germans.
driver, by
Yeah,
the way,
yeah.
and 2 more Germans.
Yeah, so you know, you want to come out of here as the top Russian or top German sled. This tap here is costly. This is between Nash and Dixon. That little tap there, now he's skidding as he comes into the setup point into horseshoe. He's not happy.
Well,
Better than that.
It's a couple of hundreds in it. Nico Walter still leads. Here is Johannes Lochner. He's won the last 2 4-man races of the season. Bronze in Whistler. He won in 2-man yesterday. A yawning 500ths of a second ahead of his teammate Nico Walter.
Only 503 in the first run. These guys could get maybe sub 5 seconds.
Start record is 5:01. Neat load, very neat load. Keeps it
5:03, just like they had in the first run. First, look at the velocity though. They turned the third best time into the best velocity. This guy was 6 out of the start box in the first heat, which was a disadvantage. He could rocket down to the track like we saw him do the last 2 weeks when he won the gold medal.
1400s in front. He was 2100s off the lead. Top 3 covered by 100th of a second.
But he was the earliest of everybody. 19 speed, 114.6. No one's had speed like that.
That is the fastest sled so far. This could be yet another track record.
Only 15. He should have been better than that with that speed. See if he can increase it here.
Good exit needed. The Valna sled is very quick. It's 1400ths of a second. It's enough to take the lead. Maybe enough for medal.
Record 104.15. How low will they go today?
Hang on, that's 1500ths faster than Nico Valter just went. Nico broke it by 300ths. He's broken it by 15.
And he's positioned himself to win a medal. Even though he's 20 hundredths out of the top 3 sleds, he was seriously at a disadvantage being the 6th guy out of the box. Look at the lines. Look at the guys riding. How deep is that team buried in behind him?
Yep.
Look at the way he leans. Look at the number 2 guy. Perfect in position. Can't even see the number 2 guy. Good aerodynamic profile by the team. He was rewarded with the best speeds and a track record at the bottom.
And we are currently 0.4 of a second quicker than the fastest run in the first heat. Next up, Maxim Andrianov, 100th in front of Johannes Lochner from the first heat. And he, now, if you don't break the track record, you're going backwards. That's all there is to it.
He was 16th out of the box. Lochner was 6th. And start time deficient, 14th in the first run, 5:10. I'm sure they're going to have to try and get single digits here. There's 5:06, excellent. Velocity to the left. 9th, not like Lochner. And again, he went 16th. 25 minutes, probably 25 minutes later than Lochner went when the sun gets on the track. So I'm favoring Lochner here all the way.
He's been in the red since he sat down, and that gap will grow. 1400ths behind. German 1-2 at the moment. We focus on Lochner, the leader. Nico Valter is in second.
This is the Russian 3 sled coming into the competition. It's the best Russian sled so far.
Hasanov lies third,
not
but at the moment,
not 114 speed. But if he can't beat Lochner, he wants to beat the other 2 Russian sleds. Clean. Boys, 3
behind
back.
his teammates.
Both of them.
Lochner will lead. Well, he should do. He's the least experienced of the
He
trio.
slid off their 6th best time.
So we got Germany 1-2, Russia 3-4-5 with 5 to go.
The race within a race. Let me tell you something. Kazanov and Stolnev are both liking it because they started earlier, start draws, than Andrianov. If there was ever a time Andrianov was going to beat his 2 Russian teammates, today was the day.
We only had 4 or 5 sleds in between, but it's enough to give you a couple of hundreds.
Aerodynamic profile. You can't see number 2. Look at the runners. Look at the way they accelerate into the telephone curve. Look at the bottom runner. Look at the transition. This is that slingshot we talk about. Did he get here too early? Maybe a couple inches too early.
Well, with experience, he is going to challenge his teammates more and more. 5 to go in St Moritz. Francesco Friedrich, the 2-man world champion for the first time on this track in 2013. He's been unbeatable all but in 2-man up until yesterday when his teammate Johannes Lochner won the race.
Okay, 5:01 the first run. We could see sub 5 seconds.
Bingo! Start record 497. That is an epic getaway.
And the velocity way better than everybody else. Again, he didn't like it yesterday that his teammate
joint fastest with Valter.
He didn't like it that his teammate beat him. His first time he lost a gold medal on the 2-man bobsled, so he might take the vengeance out in the competition today. And he started 10th out of the box in the first run.
Germany 1-2 at the moment.
passes, great lines. Ooh, but he touched the lip. Speed.
Got away with it.
115.
He really
Nobody.
landed it off horseshoe.
He won the world championship on this track at a two-man. Never, I don't think he's one or four-man at this
Gap's
track.
coming down, 1200s up from 14 out of Sunny. Down to 800s, it's going to be very close. It will be Germany 1, 2, 3. Friedrich will lead from Lochner and Walter by 100th of a second.
Well, look at Reddy's speeds.
Okay, so listen, Friedrich and Lochner, 100th apart in Valner sleds. Nico Walter, 2100s back in his FES.
Yeah, but he's way behind in the start. Walter is.
Francesco Friedrich, what a drive.
Okay, let's go up to the roof, see if we can bounce it off the lip and see if it gives us some speed on the bottom. But actually, he lost. The speed trap is right on horseshoe. I know, I can't tell.
Touches the back as well, but he landed it off there just perfect. There's Friedrich, Torsten Margis, his regular two-man brakeman. They lead. Germany 1, 2, 3. Russia 4, 5, 6. 4 to go. Chris Spring of Canada led the 4th to 10th pack by a couple of hundreds. Can he challenge for medal? Top 3 are separated or covered by 100th. He was 1600s away from the lead.
He was 17th in 17th start draw in the first run, which was an advantage. But he drove well yesterday in the two-man. He's got a knee brace on his right leg. He's only 80%. But the Canadian team, these guys had the 7th best start in the first run in 06. They should be better. In early, 6 again. Great consistency. Let's see what the load is. 7.
Well, that was 1100 slower than leader Friedrich, so they're only 700s behind him now.
Pretty good aerodynamic profile. Canadians have 3 really good teams. And again, the 4th team was Kaylee Humphries. She raced with an all-female team in the first heat.
That's down to 1500. Don't forget, 1st and 2nd are covered by 100th of a second. You beat them both, or they both beat you.
He's going to need 115 speed down here. Doesn't have good lines, though.
So he's going to drop into the gap between the top 2 and maybe Nico Walter or Alexander Kasyanov.
You know, he had that start draw 17. But he delivered. These are good lines. Chris Spring, 16. He's bringing it back. Top speed, 94.
Bronze medal in Lake Placid. Missed the cut in Winterberg. He loses 3 spots with 3 sleds to come. So that will be him in top 6 position.
93.6 miles an hour. The best speed so far, 94.5 by Lochner.
Well, 104.34 again is a 2/10 faster than anybody won in the first heat.
Look at the profile of the athletes. They can't ride the sled like a sandbag. The athletes got to know where they are, feel themselves down the track. Martineau to Portago when you're going 94 miles an hour. Hey, Springer.
Well, he's definitely got his form back this season, hasn't he? 3 sleds to go in St Moritz, covered by 100th of a second. We had a dead heat for 2nd, and the leader 100th in front. 2 Latvians and a Swiss. We have a German 1-2 at the moment, with Chris Spring of Canada in 3rd. But the gap between the lead trio and the rest of the field was a minimum of 1600ths of a second.
This is the world champion from last year, but he had back surgery in the summer. He's still 80%.
Expect more track records.
5:03 in the first run. 5 flat. Velocity from 4 huge men. Best velocity. Nobody's been to 59 like that. 4 huge men. Very athletically talented. And this is the world champion, who's still at 80%. But he had a big advantage. He went 22nd in the first heat. Only 1300s up. Gonna need magical lines and 114 kilometers here on the exit, but he's low there.
This is where we find out if the BTC can
159.
reduce the numbers at the bottom.
Whoa, no one's at that
Fastest of all.
speed.
That's 72 miles an hour, half a mile an hour quicker than anybody.
The world champion. Didn't see him in December. Only saw him after Christmas.
Won 2 years ago, won 3 years ago. Can he make it? Another win. Oscar Malbardis will take the lead.
No.
104.17. We are going to need a track record to try and beat him. 104.17, just 200s off the new record.
Lost a little bit coming down that last straightaway. The boy, he was, you know, look at the size of this guy. This is a 245-pound guy. Look at him get out of the sled, too. We think his only mistake he made was up at Snake. Watch this left side of our screen. Now watch how much of the sled. Watch the way the heads move here in this sled.
On a fraction late.
Yeah.
That transition then.
A little rough. Yeah. Should be smoother than that. You know, we're critical of the guy in first.
It's struggling when they're finding a replay in the truck to give us some critiquing. Lots of noise at the top now for Switzerland's Rico Peter. Bert Hefty had a horror story in the first heat, having to rerun when the clocks froze out of the final corner. Didn't make the cut. Rico Peter, 100th away from a win.
Wow. Sounds like a football stadium around here.
Last Swiss win on this track, World Championship 2007. Ivo Rug, Bert Hefty was one of his brakemen.
Third, not very good at the start. Fifth best entry, fourth best start, fifth best speed. Drift out of that first curve. Rico Peter, though, he started 14th. He was in a really good mood. Oh, look at that skid. Ooh.
300s behind to 12 at Sunny. This is a medal slipping away from Rico Peter.
Ooh, another hit too. Disastrous run in the second heat of the two-man yesterday.
It can't get away. Down to third with one to come.
Speeds nowhere near Malbardis, and he's hit 3 times.
It's coming undone. Down to fourth. He's out of the medals. Malbardis and Friedrich will be in the medals.
Rico Peter.
Another tap.
Not a very good run by this Swiss athlete.
Not what he needed at all. Needed to hold it together.
9th best run of the heat. Now we have Malbardis, Friedrich, and Lochner.
Barely improved on his first heat. 104.56 came down to 104.48.
What Lochner do? Go 60 hundredths better? 70 hundredths better? So you can't hit everything all over the track like he did.
Oscars Malbardis, the winner in 2014 and 2015 leads.
Okay, watch the back end here. Tries to cross over on his home track. Look at the sled, it's airborne. That's why he's got, look at that. Look how much pressure there is on the nose of the sled. And that pressure takes away a lot of your acceleration point coming out of Horseshoe. Look at this, just a mistake. That's nothing to do with runners or sled, that's driver error. But the sportsman he is, tough weekend for Rico Peter.
A 10-year drought of 4-man gold medals for Switzerland continues. Our final sled, Oscars Kibermanis. In the last decade, Yanis Minins won, Edis Maskelans won, and twice Oscars Malbardis has won for Latvia. Malbardis leads.
This is almost a Latvian home track. As successful as they've been here. Look at him get in, get down. Look at the efficiency.
Oh my goodness!
And the velocity, though, let's see, that's only the second best velocity. His teammate Malbardis, the more experienced team, had better velocity. And there's only 100 separating the two of them.
Kibermanis needs a track record to win this, pretty much. 500s up on Oscars Malbardis.
What a presentation of our sport.
What a presentation of Latvian bobsledding.
1500s. He's going to need that 115 speed on the exit here.
Keeps it neat into Horseshoe. Good height. Good exit. Here we go. 1700s up.
115.3. Half a kilometer down.
2 4-man races. He's been 7th and 10th this year.
He's never won a gold medal. He won his first medals ever in the previous 2 weeks. bronze medals in the two-man. He's never medaled in four-man.
2 tenths up, 1700. It's going to be gold for Latvia, silver for Latvia, bronze for Germany. Victory for Oskars Kibermanis, a start record, a track record, his first ever four-man gold. Bang, bang, bang. What a way to do it.
I think he's arrived. Oskars Kibermanis, 22-year-old, one of them young guns we keep talking about. This guy can only improve.
See the way they were checking. They were looking back to somebody to hold up the finger. They wanted to be really certain before they went jubilation.
No, I think that they were celebrating the second time the start number.
Yeah.
They broke the track record at the start, too. This young decathlete they plucked off the streets, an 18-year-old in Riga.
Melbardis, the first to congratulate him. And he's really come of age this season, hasn't he? Well, Oskars Melbardis has been on the sidelines. You'd barely have noticed because of the results that Kibermanis has been producing.
He just didn't have the results the last couple of years. He always had the best starts, but he wasn't improving as a driver. I think that's all in his rearview mirror. Wow. When you have the best time at the top of the track, at the start, you have the best opportunity for the best time at the bottom.
And it's not because he's got Melbardis' starting crew. It's his own starting crew that set the new start record. Yes, when Oskars Melbardis is healthy, they'll get faster.
How can this small country of 1.9 million people have this good of bobsled teams? And they're also pretty good at men's skeleton.
Zintasik Man has told us they're fighting off athletes with a stick because of the success. Success
Look
like
at
this.
2 Oscars, top of the board.
1, 2. Friedrich gets a bronze medal. Lochner, last week's winner, 2 straight four-man golds. He's out of the medals, so is Rico Peter and Chris Spring, but some great racing. Just huge drama here in St Moritz. And a fantastic finale with a first-time four-man gold medalist in Oskars Kibermanis.
Wow. Can we do that again?
No. I'm not sure we've got the stamina. I thought Winterberg was the one where you had lots and lots of close racing, which we did, but this place is just astonishing. And it just shows how close the competition is getting. We're within 400 days of the Olympic Games, and everybody is already showing some of what they've got.
The start times from all these teams. The Russians are getting better at the start. This guy already had a great start. Wow, I'm just, you know, last couple of years I've been saying, boy, this young Kibermanis, I don't know why he's not improving. He never was on the podium. This year, of course, when you get on the podium the first time, it's easier the second time. 3 straight weeks we've seen him, 2 bronze medals in the two-man, and then he strikes gold today here on the oldest track in the world, St Moritz.
Yeah. Remarkable run of form, and when the penny drops, it just does, doesn't it? And then suddenly the confidence is there, and suddenly everything seems to. And his team, Janis Janssens, Mattis Miknis, Raivis Zirups is the most experienced of the quartet.
Yeah,
in that
Janis,
sled.
the other guy is the brand new.
2 new guys, 2 relatively new guys in the sled, and yet the way they load it again, their dry land drills must be astonishing, relentless to get this. Phenomenal time. What a race weekend for Oskars Kibermanis. What a race weekend for Oskars Melbardis.
Maybe one of the best bobsled races I've ever seen.
Yes. I tell you, there was so much drama. We didn't even capture live on air what happened with Baird Hefty. Well, there is Kibermanis on the left and his crew. Boys, yes. That feeling doesn't get old. But this day, in this place, to win your first in St Moritz, could hardly be anywhere better for them. Beautiful St Moritz in Switzerland, the end of a racing weekend. Alexander Kazyanov has taken the lead of the four-man World Cup rankings. Rico Peter, Johannes Lochner behind him, and Francesco Frigic tied with Maxim Andrianov in 7th position. But the big story here today, a first gold medal of his career for Oskars Kibermanis. Kibermanis came in here in 15th place in the points and has picked up just a single spot at the expense of Yong Jung-won. But having broken his duck, what will the rest of the season present?
Juan was the World Cup leader coming in here.
Well, he's the 2-man leader. He wasn't the 4-man leader coming in. That was Alexander Kazyanov. Stephen Holcomb slipped from 3rd position, but a thrilling race weekend in all disciplines. And the blue ribbon event did not let us down. Keeper Manis led by 100th of a second in the first heat, and John, he blew every record out of sight to win the race.
He's only won 2 bronze the last 2 weekends, the first medals of his career. He'd never been in a gold medal position. He came out with all the pressure on him, delivered a track record at the start, a track record at the bottom. This kid, take a look at what that kid looks like.
Well, at the moment, he's all grin, isn't he, Oscar's Keeper Manis?
What a bobsled race. Again, might be the most exciting race I've ever seen.
That mum champagne may not last too long in those bottles. I'm sure that'll be celebrated with the rest of the team, with the coaches, with the mechanics. Oscar's Keeper Manis and the Latvians win their first race in 4-man, and what a place to do it. Latvia 1-2, Germany 3-4. Switzerland's Rico Peter slipped out of the medals to 5th, ahead of Chris Spring. Well, breathless excitement, start to finish here in St Moritz in Switzerland. We head now to the oldest artificial track on the planet, Koenigsee in Bavaria. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew next week for lots more sliding action. Until then, from St Moritz, thank you for being with us. We look forward to your company next time out. Goodbye for now.